Did you see the Guardians of the Galaxy intro trailer?
I did. I think it's interesting for... Well, I thought it looked good. I thought it looked amusing enough that I'm going to go see it. I was pleasantly surprised that Rocket Raccoon does not look like complete and total shit.
He doesn't look like just a cartoon animal. He looks like a real...
Yeah,
for lack of a better term, he looks like a
Rocket
real...
Raccoon looks kind of actually exactly how I'd expect him to. It's going to be fun to see a comic booky type popcorn movie take on intergalactic sci-fi for the first time in quite some time. Like, that's going to be a lot of fun. Just to switch it up, get us away from the normal superheroes, capes, saving the planet Earth sort of thing. That's going to be fun.
Well, let's explain what Guardians of the Galaxy is. It's a ragtag group of, like... It started, I think, in the 70s. And
it's a rotating group, too.
And in the 70s was a totally different group than it was now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're even connected, really.
They're all... Howard the Duck was a member of Guardians of the Galaxy at one point.
So it's intergalactic, other side of the galaxy stuff. It's not really connected to the Earth, really.
No.
And they go... And they're a ragtag group of misfits, basically. It's a misfit superhero group, if you can call them that.
It's like West Coast Avengers in space.
All right, I think I'm not giving the West Coast Avengers enough credit, but all right. Iron Man was on the West Coast Avengers.
Everyone was the West Coast Avengers.
I love the West Coast Avengers. Hank Pym and Tigra. Come on. You had Hawkeye on there.
Yeah, I do like Hawkeye. Anyway, so, yeah. It's an outer space ragtag group, and it's going to be more... It's definitely going to be different than your usual what you think that something from Marvel is going to be. This is not superheroes in any traditional sense of the word.
And I like it because, at least from the... the only thing I knew about it was that it existed. I mean, it's one of those titles where I collected comics as a teenager, so it'd be one of those things you might see, oh, there's Guardians of the Galaxy, flip through. That's all I knew. I never read one in my life.
Right.
But then you start hearing people back, yeah, they're making this movie with this, like, little furry raccoon that mouths off and shoots machine guns. You're like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like, they're really going to do something like that? And it's like, they're going to do a movie with not even B-listers, a bunch of C-list... Marvel characters. It's like, okay, this is kind of strange. Like, I guess Marvel's kind of feeling good now. And if you even told me 4 years ago you would not have you'd have a Marvel movie coming out like this is big budget. This is like $150 million movie. This isn't cheap. If you told me then that you'd have a big Marvel movie coming out with a huge budget that wasn't a big superhero, like this is like the same thing as if they did a Cloak and Dagger movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd say Cloak and Dagger are more well-known than Guardians of the Galaxy, at least overall in the history of comics they are. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's surprising and it's cool because they're taking a risk. This isn't a slam dunk like Avengers, you know.
I want to see it do well because I think I got this from a website, but someone referred to it as Marvel's entering their deep cuts era.
Yes, I saw that too. Yeah,
and I'm happy for that because that means we might get a Doctor Strange. We might get
that's in the works.
We might get an Iron Fist. I would love to see.
That's been rumored for 5-6 years.
I would love to see any of these, and I think by taking something so far out there like Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a barometer for them. If this can do it, then we can do it with anyone else in our universe.
Yes. It basically means it doesn't have to be an established character.
Right. If we can make these no ones from space something that makes us money, then we can take even slightly known characters.
And even though this is a comic that's existed since like for 30+ years, in this iteration it's only been what 5 years or so, like in this sort of what they're
not even sure. I know they rebooted it again recently, and here's the thing that's interesting to me. People started getting hints of Guardians of the Galaxy when Marvel vs. Capcom came out and Rocket Raccoon was in there, okay? Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Sort of slipped it in.
Right. And then, Marvel started building it up and they started talking about, possibly doing a movie. And everyone's like, oh, what is this? And then Marvel reboots it. And from everything I've heard, the Guardians of the Galaxy reboot is fucking trash. Like, no one likes it. But it doesn't matter because at this point, Marvel's movies... I mean, honestly,
doesn't matter.
They have enough clout. People like them enough that it's going to stand on its own regardless of what's happening with the comic.
The good thing about Disney owning them, the comics could fucking not make a cent. It doesn't matter. The movies are going to make a ton of money.
So even if people didn't like the Guardians of the Galaxy comic, it doesn't really say anything about how well the movie's going to do, both in terms of its quality and people going to see it.
Because only 0.01% of the public has heard of it before the movie anyway.
Now, I could be wrong. I mean, I'd be willing to check out that comic, but I just haven't heard much good.
But that's why I like it, though. They're taking a risk from the trailer, intro, which is a perfect intro trailer. It doesn't give away the plot at all. It shows you who the characters are. It sets the tone, which trailers have forgotten to do that without giving away a plot.
Yeah, see, I liked the trailer for that because I actually don't watch trailers for movies I want to see because they always give away too much. Yeah. But this one, it was like, you don't know these characters, so here's a brief quick minute and a half intro to who they are.
The characters, and you get to see
a couple of snappy one-liners. Michael C. Riley.
You screwing up the name is now screwing up me trying to correct you.
Something C. Riley.
There's a lot of big actors in this.
Yeah.
You have Glenn Close in it. Benicio del Toro, who actually had a cameo in Thor 2 as the Collector. What's the main character, the guy from Parks and Recreation? Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. Chris Pratt's a guy who's on the rise, but he's not a household name.
No.
Parks and Recreation is a popular show. Hugely popular? Yeah, it's
yeah, you know. I would say so.
You think it's hugely popular? Yeah, okay. But on that show, he wasn't even like a heartthrob. He was just schlubby guy. He gets this film. Marvel sees his acting chops. He was in Zero Dark 30, which I saw was really excellent. He was a Navy SEAL in that. Probably had 2 lines the last half hour of the movie. He was in Moneyball. Had a part in that as I think the first baseman. So he's been acting, but he's not a guy you put on this tentpole picture like this. But he gets the role. He gets ripped for it. And again, we talked about this in the past. I love Marvel Studios because they're not going out and getting leading men. They're getting out guys that they know can do the role.
Yeah, they're not getting brains or bronze or looks. They're fine. Yeah, they're fine. They're casting to the role, and that is, well, fuck it. I'm not talking about it this week. But anyways, yeah.
You're not talking about what movie? What movie, Ian? Batman vs Superman? Not talking about
fill in the blanks.
But no, they got him, and they're surrounding the star with bigger actors.
Right.
John C. Reilly, not Michael C. Reilly.
Whatever.
Glenn Close, Benicio del Toro, Michael Rooker has a role. Karen Gillian, who was in Doctor Who. Zoe Saldana as Gamora. And Vin Diesel as Groot. And the voice of Rocket Raccoon is Bradley Cooper. So awesome. They're insulating their star, which is, again, smart. Their star who's, on the rise, I think he's going to be in the new Jurassic Park movie that's coming out next year. So by the time that comes out, by the time this movie comes out, he'll be a hit. He'll be a rising star if he isn't already. And then by next year, he'll be huge. But yeah. But it's still, again, it looks interesting. They're taking an artistic risk, which, again, why I love it. I think there is going to be a Doctor Strange movie, which I think will be great.
Yeah, I hope that my guess to their strategy is what their strategy is, because I think it's pretty good for companies sitting where they are. Cast the line so far out and then just reel it back in and catch everything. Everything.
Because this is probably the most outlandish comic movie they could do. Can you think of one more outlandish than this, other than like Devil Dinosaur?
No, like I'd love to see. Like I was gonna say Moon Knight, but no, Moon Knight would make more sense than this. Like I'll likely see. Like if this works,
Moon Knight is more well known than this.
Yeah, exactly. And I love Moon Knight, so there's a chance that maybe we will. Like if this works, like I said before, anything.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's August 1st. I'm gonna see it. This is going to be a pretty cool next few months with Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I loved the first Amazing Spider-Man. I thought it was way better than all 3 Raimi Spider-Man films. You have X-Men Days of Future Past, which follows up the excellent First Class, which you still have to see.
Yeah, those I do need to see.
Captain America Winter Soldier looks great. It's probably better than the first one because the first one has to deal with the origin. That always takes forever.
Does Winter Soldier look cool?
That's where I'm going to end this segment.
All right, onwards.